obviously, Adam's talked about it, but as you see things, what is your take? Obviously, the tragedy that's going on with the pandemic, but with apropos the league, do you see a scenario that it could get started, or is I've heard things about Florida, but is Christmas possibly a logical alternative, a goal to shoot for? What's your take?
I don't know any of that. I think Adam has some tough decisions, but I trust him and what he's doing. And the board of governors, I think they're going to do what's best. But I'm holding out hope that we're still going to play some basketball this year. But that's just me being a fan. I don't really have any inside information on that.
Hey, Danny, John Corrales. There's going to definitely be some sort of impact on the salary cap, even though you might not know exactly what it's going to be. How does that change your preparation for next season and the season moving forward?
Yeah, John, I think that's a good question. But all we can do is try to project the best we can, and that's what we've always done. And our guys that are the projectors of the salary cap, Bill Reisfelder mostly, has done a fantastic job over the many years. So I'll just listen to what they have to say, and we'll get the updates from the league as they come in. But right now I'm just preparing for free agency, preparing for the draft, and watching a lot of film and controlling things that I can control.
Have you gotten any sense from the league as to a sort of specific number, a ballpark even?
Nope, have not. Those projections haven't come out. Matter of fact, it's crazy, but sometimes those projections get leaked to you guys before we even get them. Mm-hmm. So I'll be waiting to hear from you guys. Tell me the new salary cap projections. Or I guess Woj.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Danny, it's Mike Petralia. Hope you're doing well, staying safe. Like the shots of you, pictures of you getting up shots in the backyard. That was nice. Nice touch.
That was mostly directed toward Jason. Just to let him know that I had a hoop right there. You can come use it anytime you want. It's all his.
I'm sure it was well received. Which I
can even loan him Little Wheezy Dog too to play defense for him on his ball handling drill.
Anything to work on quickness, right?
That's right.
I guess that does lead me into what my basic question was, and what kind of challenge has it been for you and Brad to stay in touch with, not only stay in touch with all of your players, but make sure they're doing the best they can for themselves during this kind of unprecedented shutdown?
Yeah, I mean, this is a time for the really self-motivated that are going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity in their career to get stronger, to get in great condition. We're approaching this like we're going to return to play and that we're going to be playing playoff basketball. And so we are staying in touch. We are having conference calls where we have guest speakers, motivational speakers that address all of our guys on Zoom. And we are doing workouts with the coaches and with the strength coaches, via Zoom and so forth. So, we're trying to do all we can. And, some players are better than others at doing things on their own and doing extra work. And some players are more compliant than others. Some are harder to reach than others. But for the most part, I've been impressed with how much our players have bought in and the work that's going on behind the scenes.
Thanks, Danny.
Danny, who are some of the people you guys have had as guest speakers for the team?
Maybe I don't want to say that, Adam, just because maybe they'll get bombarded by other people that read this. I don't know. But we've had Mark Wahlberg was great. He was a lot of fun. Our players got a good kick out of him. He had some really good stories. LL Cool J was his story is pretty fascinating. Jim Cash, who's always magnificent to listen to, has some great wisdom and knowledge for the players. And we had Dr. Myron Roll, who has a fascinating story here at Mass General. So, yeah, we've had some very inspirational speakers.
The general culture looks to the athletes for inspiration and direction, yes? I mean, even when they run those PSAs on NBA TV, it's like something that the kids are really looking for hope.
Yeah. The NBA has, like a lot of players have done, a lot of people, I would say. But, yeah, in the NBA, the circle we live in, but I've been impressed with so many neighbors and people that are reaching out and helping so many in need. And it's very inspirational to do that. And it's good that our players are doing that too.
Danny, you mentioned that you're preparing for the draft and free agency. How difficult is that when you don't know if the current season is over?
It's not difficult. I mean, you still have to study and watch players. You still have to do background checks and gather information on players. And you still have to keep working and preparing as if the draft is going to happen on June 25th until we hear otherwise. I don't think any of us anticipate that will be the case, but it's possible. And so we're just preparing as if it is. And, we've been allowed to do some calls with some of the seniors, but they haven't got the underclassmen lists out yet. We won't be able to have any communication with them until after that. But, there's a lot of preparation. We just had the reason I was a few minutes late is we were just finishing up a conference call with my staff, and we do that 3 or 4 days a week, and we go through entire conferences and talk about all the players in the whole conference, and that's what we've been doing this morning.
Well, you've seen, that's one of your strengths is you've seen kids over and over and over, but how much would, the individual workouts be missing or the Chicago missing? Virginia, how much would that subtract from what you put into the draft process?
Yeah, I can just give you a few examples, but let's just take Rajon Rondo as an example. Yeah. Had I not been able to see him in the draft workout and sat down and talked with him and looked into his eyes and, listened to his, I don't think I would have drafted him. And so I think that there is some value in that. At the same time, we drafted Avery Bradley without any draft workout.
Yeah.
Drafted Steve Nash back in our Phoenix day without a draft workout. So I think that, you don't always get guys in for draft workouts, so you have to be prepared to take guys. And so that's why we're doing so much homework at this time and taking advantage of, getting ahead of the game in case we don't get draft workouts. And but we'll be prepared.
Danny, how much does losing the conference tournament and March Madness affect your ability to evaluate how players perform under pressure situations, especially for freshman players?
Good question. I think it does some. I think sometimes we overvalue a game performance in a big game, in a big moment. But yeah, I mean, first of all, it's the most fun time of the year. Conference tournaments, getting ready for the playoffs, and it was killing me. The Masters, like oh man, we're missing out on a lot. And the Red Sox opening day, and in the early part of baseball season. So anyway, it has been fun being at home though and watching past Celtics games with my kids and my younger boys in particular that don't really have good memories of Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and so forth. It's been kind of fun.
Hey, Danny, to that point, you know, I assume everybody on the call watched the documentary on Sunday. You played a pretty prominent role in part of it, at least. I was just curious if you got a chance to watch that and kind of what your recollections were of that series against the Bulls and the way that Michael played in it.
Yeah, I did watch. I watched it with my family and with my boys and my two youngest boys and their wives. And it was fun because, like I said, they didn't have much recollection of it. And when I would chime in to make a comment on something that was going on in it, they pretty much gave me the hush. Like, we're listening to this. We don't care what you have to say. We want to listen to this documentary. So they were really, really into it. And that was kind of fun to see how excited and interested they were and how little they knew of that whole era and just how little they knew about Michael, not just as how good of a player he was. They've obviously heard that, but, you know, they're just intrigued by who he was.
Hey, Danny, going back to the team building and the uncertainty, how much of a ripple effect do you think this is going to have, not just on your preparation and free agency and maybe signing your own guys here, but beyond this, how is this going to impact the league next season, and how much of a ripple effect do you think it's going to have?
I honestly don't know. I mean, we don't even know if we're going to play or when we're going to play. So, like, that's just, you know, hypothetical conversations that I don't really get that involved in. Listen, every team is going to be the same for every team, and whatever happens, happens. And right now we're preparing to play and come back and play, and that's all we can do. And we're preparing for the draft, and we're preparing for free agency, and I mean, there's nothing else we can do except keep our players prepared and to be prepared for whatever comes our way.
And, you know, having heard what you said about hypothetical, what about, you can hypothetical one more time, playing before in an empty gym? I mean, is that something that it's really conceivable? Yes. I mean, being as contagious as it is, and, you know, a vaccine possibly 6 months to a year away, right? I mean, what about playing in an empty gym?
Yeah, it's not as much fun. It's not ideal, but it's better than not playing. Listen, I've gone to college games and high school gyms, and there's like 40 or 50 people in the building, and you know, it's still a good game. I've been involved in practices where there are 0 fans in the room, and it is intense, and it is a battle. Matter of fact, there's many times I said, like, I wish you guys would play as hard against our opponents as you play against one another. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's not ideal, but I think it could work.
Danny, it's Abby. Glad to hear. Oh, sorry.
Here you go.
Is that okay if I go?
Hi, Abby.
Yeah.
Hi. We've seen a lot of Taco Fall on TikTok, I mean, everywhere on social media. It's awesome. But I'm curious about, with the G League season canceled, what is his status along with Tremont and maybe some of the other guys? But those two in particular are the two-way players.
I think that the status is that they're still with us, you know, and that they're so until we have further notice on what the league is going to rule on all that. But as of now, they're still part of us, and they're still, you know, can be with us if the season resumes.
Yeah, this question is actually for Christian. The Celtics on their calls are getting LL Cool J. How come all we're getting is Ainge?
That's a great question, and it's, you know, we need to look in the mirror and we need to do a better job. You know, we're happy to provide you, Danny, but we need to step it up for the next one and send requests our way.
Hey, Danny, quick question.
John, I heard John talking to Tommy Heinsohn and Robert Parrish this week.
Yeah, I'm working my way through everybody.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thanks.
You gotta love Chief's voice, John. That is classic. The best.
Chief's a good one. I got to get him. I got to get Dikembe Mutombo and Kendrick Perkins all on the same call.
Oh, Perk is a character. I talked to Perk the other day. He is a character. There you go, right there. There's your inspiration. You guys just need to check out with Perk and get all the info you want. He's full of charisma, and he can say whatever he wants.
Hey, Danny, can I ask you?
I'm kind of muffled by Christian. You know, he's like telling me things I can't say, so I'm like, I got the muzzle. He's got the muzzle on me.
Right.
You rarely listen to me, but I've kind of given up. So.
Hey, Danny, can I ask you about KG? In this context, I heard you with Scal the other night about talking about what made Larry so special was that confidence factor. And now you played with Clyde and Charles, coached Jason. Can you talk about, Kevin going to the Hall and, just reflect on him? And, I know you're asked that a lot, but in that context.
Well, Kevin, we all know Kevin is a lock, automatic first ballot Hall of Famer. I think we knew that when he arrived here, even before what he did in Boston. I think winning a championship solidified that for him. But, KG just, like, whenever I think of KG, I just smile. Like, the guy just cracks me up. And he was so intense. He was fun. He was funny. He was serious. He was driven. But, as much as anything, he was a unifier. And he, he wanted and he thrived in an environment where it was all about the team.
Yeah.
He didn't like conflict. He didn't like too much chaos. I think he liked a little bit of chaos periodically. But anyway, he was a fantastic teammate. It's well documented, and obviously one of the top players in the history of the game. So, yeah, him and Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant, those guys are automatic.